Hello, my name is Justin Bright, and welcome to Kerbal Space Program version 1.2, where I am attempting to make Kerbals a multiplanetary species. So, when we last checked in with our scientists up on the Kerbal Space Station, we were finishing up a couple of experiments through Nemia's science mods. So we're just finishing that up now, so let's head up and see how things have gone. All right. An atom of BSE Kermit. Cool. That's the fourth of four different experiments, or atom experiments, which is a ultrasound type thing. Looks like I have just a couple minutes left on the other one, so let's just warp till that one's finished. Boom. And the CCF, capillary something or other flow. So let's end that. Cool, cool. So now I have some finished experiments, and I believe storage manifest. Yeah, we'll be moving things into this ESC2 storage container bit, which will allow us to return this science for tremendous amounts of, well, science points or something. Move to 2 of 2. State finished. Move to 1. State finished. Cool. Oh look, I can finalize here. Alright, so finalize. You can no longer move the equipment after finalization. Okie dokie. Oh my goodness, look at all that science. Beautiful. So that is going to get us 368 science when I return this sucker. So that is incredibly cool. So I wonder, can I process and send it home? Let's see, because that's going to give us 2,300 additional science, 460 data out of our mobile processing lab, which will be most of it. So let's see what happens if I do that. Okay, very cool. Oh, it looks like it did eat it. Clean experiments. Yeah, so that's going to get us 2.5 science a day, and we're going to save all that amount of science that we finished in here. So we'll be able to actually get that again if I send this up again. I'll probably not make you guys watch that, but that is a good way of getting tons and tons of science and actually getting good use out of our laboratories up here. So this one is going to be another 330 data, so we could either cap out our mobile processing lab and get a huge amount of science per day, because this will get us another 1650, so this will be something like 4,000 science total between the two. But it is going to take, looks like 117 days, so it's going to be a long period of time that I'll be having to kind of draw this science out. I think that's actually a good idea, so let's do that. We can plan to cannot analyze data as lab is full of data. Well, it looks like I can't quite do it yet. Clean experiments. I wonder if I can actually reset. Cleaning out OMS ESC2. I wonder if that's going to let it let me use that again. That would be kind of neat. Oh, look at that. It's finalized too. Oh gosh, I probably don't want to do that then. No, don't. Oh dear. I'm a little bit concerned about what's going to happen when this finishes cleaning out, because it looks like I'm going to get to keep this data in the ESC2 and return that. So, I don't know. But I think what we can do at this point is I think it's time for our scientists to pack up and leave the station for now and return home with their bounty of science. We'll send just the pilot home, and we'll leave the scientists up here to do a little bit more work. So that's going to be Meldo. Meldo, where are you? Meldo and Sangala. So Sangala's in the right place. Where is Meldo? Meldo. You go up into here, into the mobile processing lab. That should get my science up. Yep, see, look at that. That jumped it up to 5 science per day. That'll get it a lot faster, which is very nice. And in the meantime, let's transfer Rayleigh and BC out into the command pod. All right, so we're going to leave our scientist crew in this thing, and we're going to see if this breaks stuff by undocking. Maybe good. Oh dear, it's still saying that it's cleaning out. I have no idea what's happening. Let's get the heck out of here. So, the nice thing is we have a fairly full tank of fuel on this thing, and we're definitely not going to need all that to get home. So what I think I can do at this point is I have 2 contracts to pick up Kerbals in orbit. So it should be fairly easy to rendezvous with each of those in turn and get some free Kerbals on the way home. Should be pretty nice. Because one of the things I mentioned in a previous episode is just how expensive it is to hire Kerbals, and if I want to actually get to my goal of 100 Kerbals on Duna and then maybe even 100 Kerbals on Eve, I'm very much going to need to hire a tremendous number. Turn orbit. I want +1 orbit from now. +1 more orbit. So we're going to have to circle about a few times before we get a close approach, but here we are. That's the opposite direction I want to go. Nice. 3.2 kilometer intersect. If I leave a little bit later, just a couple seconds. Oh, look at that. I can actually reduce my relative velocity, which is interesting. That should be easy enough to do. So let's just wait on that. That's going to be a long time orbiting, so I will be right back. Okay, we're back. I just jumped really quickly down to the what do you call it? I jumped down to the tracking station so that I could time warp a whole bunch faster. And you don't need to see a whole bunch of loading screens in a row, so. All right, oops, I don't need to be burning RCS. I have plenty of rotational authority on this thing. So let's point this and get ourselves moving. Oh, look at that. One of my mods is bugged again for visuals. It makes the sky kind of float along with me in a very strange way. Hopefully that clears up after I reload the next scene. 2, 1, here we go. Alright, so now we are off to rescue the first of 2 astronauts that are lost and floating in orbit. The rescue contracts are a lot easier if you, especially if you already have something in orbit that can accomplish it, because this is going to cost me practically nothing compared to the 100,000 or so a piece that it would cost me to recruit these Kerbals. Here we are, we're closing in. Switch to target mode so we can monitor our final approach. 60 seconds away. Oh dear. It's a little terrifying. And let's flip around as we get close to the burn time. And burn with a little bit of extra radial velocity added on so that I bring that as close as possible. so that I'm canceling differences in our orbit as well as our relative velocities. Now we've got another 2 minutes to get to 0.2 kilometers. So we'll call that a win. Get a little bit closer. With these rescue contracts, you don't need to be dead on, because at this point, actually, let me just rotate so that the crew entry point is pointing in the general direction of the other module. I'm going to give it a little power, and then, oh geez. There's a whole freaking medical bay floating in orbit. How did you get here? Can you even get out? There's no hatch. Oh, for goodness sake. Well, I am not actually 100% sure how I'm going to rescue D.T. Kerman. Huh. Broken. Power coupler not landed. Not enough electric charge. And the timer is counting down. Yeah, the problem that I'm running into here, I think, is that the stock contract system chooses for its list of rescue targets the entire list of crewable parts. It doesn't matter if it's actually a pod or if it's actually something that even has a hatch, because the stock game, remember, doesn't have anything that... well, that's not true. It does have one part that does not have a hatch, and that'll be the Mark I inline crew cockpit. So I guess this is in fact a stock problem as well. I'm not sure if that's on the list of things that can be chosen, but this one certainly is, and I think I have two options with this. I can slap a parachute on it and just push it and then hope for the best, I suppose. Or I can wait until I get the claw, I suppose, and then try to do that. Like, try to latch onto it that way and bring the entire piece home. Here, let's cancel my relative velocity and jump down to the Space Center for a second, because I have no idea what I'm going to do about this. Okay, well, hang tight, DT. I'm going to try to set up a rescue mission. I think that would be by far the safest, is to send up something with a claw after I return some of this science. Looks like nothing exploded in the science anyway, so that's nice. So, what I have to do now, what I'm going to do now, is let's go check the other vessel, I suppose. And see if that one is also stuck in something impossible. Oops, this is weird because we're on kind of the same orbit. Here, let's just... I really need to slow down, but I don't think that's going to be possible because I am only at an orbit of 81 by 78 kilometers. So, I'm going to just go really high in one shot, and then we'll meet up again in this orbit. Oops. So we're looking at about a 0.8 intersect, 338 meters per second of relative speed when we get back. So we're going to spend a total of about 700 making this work, which is totally fine. We've got plenty, and that'll be plenty to perform our rescue and then get home. And the nice thing is, because we're in a relatively circular orbit between the two of us, I don't actually have to wait all that long until this burn. 2, 1, fire that engine. See ya, D-Day. Good luck. The unfortunate thing is, now that I've claimed her as part of my crew, I've completed this contract and got a little bit of money, but I'm now responsible for her and her safety, which means if she suffocates, or... Gosh, I don't have much time, do I? Looks like she has 14 days of supplies and electric charge because I activated her by going into her physics range, and she is now a Kerbal I'm responsible for. So, if she runs out of supplies at this point, then she's dead, and that's going to be a problem. Alright, let's finish out this burn. But I think it should not be too much of an issue because I can just launch something. And I should be getting the science I need to get the parts I need to make that rescue as soon as I get back. Alright, so we're coming around. Relative velocity closing in. Fingers crossed that this isn't another really silly ship. Oops. Rotate around, and there we are. So, same sort of thing as the first time we did this. Looks like I'm probably going to slide right by, actually. So let's just do everything we can to kill that velocity. Let's even blow our RCS fuel. Just a couple extra newtons of thrust. That's what I get for time warping too long. Alright, here we go. And let's just tweak our final arrival. Oops. What would be best? Let's move it up so that the reticle is spot on, or a little bit off. Alright, that's close enough. Turn RCS off and flip around. Let's go ahead and time warp. There we go. Now we're closing in at a much more reasonable speed. Please don't be something weird. Please have a hatch. What is that thing? Oh, whoops. Goodness gracious. Kill that velocity. It's a giant flying airlock. Well, that's cool. Can you get out? Oh, thank goodness. Alright, now where is... There you are. Come in for rescue. What's your name? Jedorf. Well, at least you weren't problematic there, Jedorf. And grab on and board. Here we are. Cool. So that's 1 out of 2 rescues complete. So let's go ahead and deorbit this vessel and all of its delicious cache of science. Alright, so we got back just the 1 item worth of science, unfortunately, so cleaning it did in fact break it, I think, which is completely my fault, but this should still be fine. We should still be able to mount our rescue, and we've leveled up some of our Kerbals. Don't know why that came out so weird. So Jedorf is a pilot. Wonderful. We're going to need a lot of everything to make this work. So let's jump into the Science Center, grab the actuators tech so we can get the advanced grabbing unit as well as some more material science for our space station. Very cool. Alright, we are back, and this is my solution to rescuing Dite Kerman. I have a claw, I have a little service module here, RCS, and a bunch of parachutes. And the idea here is I'm just going to grab onto this sucker and I'm going to slow it down, and hopefully it's going to be enough to actually land it safely. I know that I'm going to be able to reduce my speed enough to avoid any shock heating. Whoops, goodness gracious, that was actually a lot closer a second ago. Let's see. I'm just trying to get my intercept just on. But I should be able to avoid any shock heating just by slowing us down. And this thing has plenty of fuel and that wonderful Terrier engine, so that shouldn't be any kind of problem. I'm in the atmosphere. I just realized I'm in the atmosphere. That is probably not the best way to intercept. Huh. I mean, I'm skimming through the top part of the atmosphere. What's my periapsis? That's going to be 62 kilometers. I think that should be fine. I really can't recommend this as a method of... I really cannot recommend this as a method of setting up rendezvous. So I got myself into this weird situation by trying to rendezvous immediately out of launch because DT's craft was basically just overhead, but I didn't quite make it. So it ended up, DT's craft ended up just ahead of me, kind of like this, but I still need to catch up. And the only way to catch up is to be in a lower orbit, which will be faster, have you moving at a faster orbital velocity. Technically, 60,000 kilometers is a lower and faster orbit, but it is through the absolute upper reaches of Kerbin's atmosphere, so it looks like this is holding steady. I can't believe this is working, but I'm not going to complain, that's for sure. All right, can I tweak this a little bit to make this a little bit closer? Hopefully without extending the time I spend in the atmosphere. Yeah, because it looks like my intercept is at about 1 kilometer, and it sounds like we are back in space. That was one of the weirder intercepts I've ever set up, but it should work, so seems good, question mark. Oops. Wow, this orbit is so funky, I can't figure out exactly what I need to be doing to make it closer. Oh, because I'm not on target. Goodness gracious. Oops. Wow, okay. Here we go. It helps if you have the correct UI mode set up so that you actually can see what you're doing. Go figure, right? But everything seems to be working out. I still have tons of fuel. Everything is fine. We are going to see if this is going to work as far as getting DT Kerman home safe and sound. All right. So this thing has a really heavy reaction wheel, and it has RCS thrusters, all of which should be useful in trying to keep this stable as it re-enters through the atmosphere, because I still don't want to flip out in a way that exposes, well, anything. Yeah, I'm really not sure. I haven't done anything like this before, so I guess we're going to see how this goes. But, F5 for safety, and let's arm our advanced grabbing unit. Oh, it has a magnet. I wonder if that's from the construction mod. Magnet, enable targeting. Control from here. Don't think I need a magnet. I think I'm just gonna jam myself onto the end of this thing here. Oops. Carefully. Let's turn on fine controls so that I can just come in nicely on the end of this thing. Boom. I gotcha. See, now we're roughly axial. It's kind of sticking out the side a little bit, but again, we're not going to worry about that too much. Turn on the RCS so I can actually rotate this around. Alright, DT, pilot. see. Let's try to get a... Yeah, let's get a... Let's try to re-enter this thing when I can see. It'd be nice if we could all actually observe this and see the madness in person, rather than watch a silhouette of a fireball. Coming around. Very nice. Alright, let's begin the deorbit burn. Oh, this is not very stable. Alright. Let's put this thing at a... Yep, dunk this in the ocean, that should be good. Trajectories mod shows me just about how this thing should, how this should go. So as we're coming in, let's switch to surface mode and start killing some of our additional velocity. Dear, this thing does not want to sit all that stable, which is why it's very important that I kill as much of this orbital velocity as I can. Shock heating is not really dangerous below 2,000-ish. Don't quote me on that. It'll still burn stuff off down to about 1,1700, so I'm still definitely in a little bit of danger here. But let's flip this around. I'll bet you this medical bay is a little bit more... it will be less prone to burning things off, hopefully. Question mark. Famous last words, etc., etc. I have no idea. I haven't done this before, so I guess we're going to see how this goes. But ideally, this big heavy module is going to be aerodynamically stable, or at least heavy enough to point downwards, using this reaction wheel and the RCS thrusters to try kind of keep it pointed downwards and into the airstream. And it's already a little toasty. That's not great. So I'm hoping that this thing survives, and then once I have this thing kind of pointing straight down, I'll have these... oh dear, this may be a very moot point. Oh, Lord. Oh. Futile burning of my RCS. Not that I think it's going to do anything. Sacrifice. No! No! Dite! I've lost control of my probe in the plasma blackout. No! I have failed you. I have failed you utterly. What were you doing in orbit with a giant research facility attached to nothing? How did you even get up there? And in the greatest unfairness, it looks like this probe grabber is going to make it home just fine, eventually. I don't know what this parachute is doing. It seems to have figured itself out. Well, I am sorry once again, Dite Kerman. I have failed you. But now we know, don't try to re-enter with giant laboratory modules completely unshielded. Yeah, probably shouldn't have had to be told that. Alright, and that looks like that is all the time I have for today. I'm going to leave you with Meldo and Sangala actually starting their research, since I had forgotten to do that previously. And we're going to rotate this station. Uh-oh, I can't rotate anything. I don't have a pilot on board. Hopefully it still has enough power. Yeah, we look fine. So, that's where we are. Unfortunately, we have failed to rescue Dite Kerman. We're pulling the plug on that one, but we have gained Jedorf Kerman, a new pilot to our space program. And we will see what we can do with that. I believe next time I'm going to be trying to start testing a prototype base on Kerbal before we send one to the moon. But we'll get to that in the next episode. I'll see you next time.